Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. How are we getting on? Welcome to a brand new Fallout 76 video. So today we're going to take a look at 5 very cool side quests that are somewhat easy to miss, that I would strongly recommend every player has a crack at, because these have some really cool stories, some of them have really good loot, some of them just tie into other aspects of the game as well in really interesting ways. They are well worth doing, and I had great fun doing all of these. And as I say, they're relatively easy to miss if you haven't got your eyes open for them, so let's jump in and have a look at what these cool 5 quests are. So, first up, we have Bucket List. Now, this is a fun quest that, as I say, with a lot of these, ties into other aspects of the game. This is the quest that gives the player a physical camera. Obviously, we have photo mode in the game already. It allows you to kind of detach the camera, move it around, take pictures. This one puts a camera in your hands as a separate item that you can then hold up and use like you would a camera in real life. This tends not to be massively advantageous over photo mode, unless you either want to get action shots, which is really, really cool. Obviously, you can't pause the game with photo mode because, shared world and all that. So this allows you to kind of get those action shots in a way that you can't really do too easily with photo mode because you have to jump through multiple button presses and stuff. So yeah, it's quite fun for that. It also ties into a number of other things like the Pioneer Scout questline and the daily score challenges, daily and weekly score challenges. You'll often get take a camera picture challenge in there, and that's what it's referring to. If it says camera picture, it specifically refers to this one and not photo mode. It'll say photo mode if that's what it means. So Bucket List is the quest that gets you that. And to pick it up, basically, you need to go to one of a number of different locations and find the body of a tourist who will look something like this. And on their body, you'll find a broken camera that you can take back to your camp, take it to a workbench and repair it, usually the Tinker's Bench, if I remember correctly. And that will give you the opportunity to use this camera. Built into this quest is the opportunity to take a bunch of different photos, the bucket list in the title, and then you'll get a couple of extra camera-related rewards at the end of it, but definitely worth having. So here's a short list of places you can find this camera. It's not entirely exhaustive, but these are main places. So you've got the Colonel Kelly Monument, that's up in Toxic Valley, just up from Grafton Steelworks. The White Spring is another possibility. Tyler County Fairgrounds over in the forest. The Giant Teapot is another possibility. Wavy Willards, also up in the Toxic Valley. The Miners Monument, I believe, is down in the Ash Heap. That's a possibility too. And the Landview Lighthouse is another good option as well. That's where I got this picture. So, yeah, a lot of different options. I believe there are others as well, as I say, that will allow you to get this practical camera, which you can then equip like a weapon, effectively, and use as a practical item to take pictures for either challenges or just if you want that particular first-person kind of an angle, which is quite fun for that. So, quest number 2. This one is very, very cool and was one of the first things added to the game after launch. It was part of that first update back in 2019, and that is Wasted on Nukashine. And there were a couple of updates over the summer of 2019 that include some really cool stuff that we'll be mentioning here. Now, Wasted on Nukashine takes place in the Morgantown Vault-Tec University kind of area and has you investigating a group of students and their powerful new brew. Basically, it leads to the brewing station crafting bench and the brewing options becoming available via this questline. To pick it up, you need to head to any train station and find the poster that is advertising a party, basically, over at one of the houses at VTU. So hit that, activate that, and it will give you the quest, and you can head over to the particular location here, which is in Morgantown, and that'll begin you on the questline. This one's reasonably doable at a fairly low level, so it shouldn't be too much challenge. Kind of watch your back as always, but there's some cool stuff in here. It also leads to a set of daily quests, which allow you to get more brewing recipes for your brewing station when you get it. So it takes you to some really cool locations, there's some fun characters in this one, and it's got a lot of the vibe, the tone, the feel of this questline is a lot of fun. I really enjoyed doing this one. So yeah, thoroughly recommend this one to everyone. So, the next 3 quests that we have, I would recommend doing at a higher level, ideally after level 50, and that's because in this case you're getting either tougher quests and or loot that is somewhat dependent on your level. So if you do it after level 50, you get the best version of the reward items, whatever they might be. So yeah, I would recommend pushing these down the line a little bit until you're above level 50, and then you get the best version of the outcomes. So first one of these is Cold Case. Now this one takes place at the Toxic Valley region. It's focused all around there. It's given by Miss Annie over at Wavy Willards Water Park. She will task you with investigating a missing child she was once responsible for. and you've got to find out where this child disappeared to, what happened, and so on and so forth. Again, as I say, I would recommend doing this after level 50 because the reward at the end of it is probably not a boss killer type weapon, but it's a cool weapon and it has a unique legendary effect that you can't get on anything else. It's quite fun. It's good for kind of running around if you're into that style of gun, so you're kind of daily low-level enemy whacker as opposed to a boss felling monstrosity. But yeah, really fun quest, really interesting kind of cerebral type thing rather than just kind of run here, shoot thing. Although there's some of that in there as well. But yeah, definitely recommend that one. It was good fun. Had a lot of tone and character and kind of harks back to those who survived the whole war and found themselves in this post-war universe, just still kind of unable to detach from the old life in a way, in the form of a robot in this case, in Miss Annie. But yeah, very fun. So, the next quest is Shear Terror. Technically speaking, Shear Terror is not the quest name, it's kind of the update name, but this particular one is a quest line, really. Quite an extensive one, actually. It's probably one of the two longest, I think, here. These next two are both quite long in terms of side quests, and obviously each side quest has its own name, and Shear Terror just kind of sums the whole thing up. But this was an update, again, from 2019, around about the same time Wasted on Nukashine was introduced. And it's good fun. It has you investigating the disappearance of a well-known local cryptid hunter. You can pick this up by heading to any train station and looking for the Sheep Squatch Ate My Brother poster. Activate that, it'll give you the initial quest, and thus beginneth the quest line. But yeah, it's a fun one. It's another mystery and investigation type thing. It's really, really cool. Getting slightly towards the edge of a spoiler here, this one ends with a repeatable world boss type public event. It is not the hardest of them in some ways, but it is probably the one in which you are most likely to die. I know that sounds like a contradiction in terms, but I don't want to say any more because I'd be spoiling things, so you'll see when you get there. On the other hand, it's a sufficiently rare pop-up, this particular event, that I practically guarantee that unless you're doing it in the middle of the night, which I don't generally recommend, then there is a very good chance everybody on your server will go, "Oh, it's there," and then dive straight into that event. So you shouldn't have any problem getting back up on this. It's also something you want to do repeatably, because it's a repeatable event and has a lot of rare rewards that are quite low on the drop rate. So definitely an event to be repeated, I think. As I say, it's quite tough, so that's really why I'd recommend being at level 50+. And yeah, definitely fun. It's an interesting mystery, the Shear Terror questline, and ties into the very Appalachian flavour of things, which is cool. It also has links to a number of other quests in the later game as well. So some of them side quests, some of them main quests, tied in all around the Appalachian space, which is quite cool, and to other factions and things. So it's an interesting basis that you'll be going, "Oh, I remember this and I recognise that" afterwards. So quite cool in that regard. One side note to say here, partway through that quest you'll find little sub-side quests, miscellaneous quests I suppose. They're captioned Unsolved something or other. There's a number of them. Those unsolved quests are, as I say, miscellaneous things that add flavour and a bit more kind of curiosity to the whole line, but they don't actually advance the through story. So up to you whether or not you do those as part of that storyline, but good to know about that sort of side thing going on there. But yeah, definitely a cool quest line. So, the last one here probably won't surprise anybody who is aware of most of these side quests, but if you haven't picked these up before, definitely recommend this one, and that is the Mistress of Mystery questline. So, avoiding any spoilers here, around the map in about 20 different locations you can find the corpse of a young woman, presumably different young women, because seeing as you can get multiple spawning on the same server. But on the corpse there are, well, a number of items, you'll need them all, and that will lead you into this questline. It has you join a now defunct faction, like many things did back pre-Wastelanders. This was in the game at launch, so obviously everybody was dead back then. There were no NPCs, so any factions you joined were more like the memory of a faction. So you kind of got the same thing going on here. This one's really cool. It has an interesting mystery to it. You get to explore what happened to the people in this faction and the relationships between them and how that went, which is really cool. It also ties back to Fallout 4 if you've played that game, and there's some interesting little bits in there that you can kind of hear. Things that were mentioned in specific places in Fallout 4 get referenced here as well because, well, one of the characters kind of crossed the game barrier there, I suppose. But yeah, really cool. Don't want to spoil anything. There is some interesting and unique flavourful loot here. It's not particularly good. If you want to get it at its best, go for level 50+. but it's not particularly great loot. It's just interesting. So, yeah. I'd particularly recommend this because it's an interesting story and it's got a fun sort of tone and vibe to it. So it's definitely worth playing through, especially if you've got sort of the main stories done, stuff like that. Yeah, good fun. Do recommend that one. So there we go. 5 side quests that are relatively easy to pass on by, that are absolutely worth doing for a number of different reasons. And yeah, they all have good stories and are quite good fun as well. So definitely recommend. There we go. Hope you folks found that interesting, informative, useful. If you liked the video, please do drop subs and likes. I very, very much appreciate. Down below, we've got notification bells, social media links, merch store, channel memberships on the blue join button if you want to support the channel in any of those ways. Hugely appreciate that. Massively helps out. Huge thanks. And if you get a chance to join us for live streams as well, we are, of course, playing Fallout 76. We are playing Fallout 4 at the minute as well. Having a lot of nostalgic fun jumping back into that as well. So join us for that if you get a chance. And, of course, we're playing a few other bits and pieces on the side as well, which is always nice. But for now, I'll say a massive thank you very much for watching. I look forward to speaking to you all very, very soon.